I was a top broker on the North Shore. And if everything had gone according to plan, I'd be fine. That's not what happened.
Hildy, would you like to have a seat?
Well, if we're really going to do this, I need a drink.
Oh, my God.
I'm kidding.
I want to start by saying that I really enjoyed this film. I thought when I started watching it, it would be a comedy. There were some great, really good jokes in the beginning. And then it really touched me. And one of the things that touched me was this idea of generational trauma and kind of numbing that with, Hildy with her alcoholism. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about excavating that, because it's something that we don't hear very often.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the most interesting things for me, too, because I have alcohol use disorder, I think we're supposed to call it, in my family as well. And one of the reasons I was drawn to Hildy's story was that, in the beginning, you see this woman working so hard, keeping up this brave front, taking care of everybody else. Yeah. And if she wants to go home at the end of the day and kick back and have a couple of glasses of Pinot Noir, who are we to begrudge her, right? See, I felt as someone who watched people drinking in my family, you do want them to feel like themselves. You do want them to be able to relax, get some solace, just let their hair down. And so because she talks to the audience, you're kind of like at the bar with her, hearing her side. Mm-hmm. And I think we stay at the bar with her a little too long because we realize just before she does that this is getting out of control.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking to be hit with that as the viewer, but so important. And also, I think the film does this great job of tapping into the idea that alcohol is so institutionalized in our lives, and to be a person who decides to walk a path of sobriety is to decide almost to be an outsider. Because it's so ingrained in all of our celebrations. And I wonder if you talk a little bit about that aspect as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's this great scene at the end when she has decided to go back into treatment. And I asked a few of my favorite people on the crew to come and be in the group with me. Mm. And I would say most of them, for real, turned out to be sober.
Wow.
So yeah. I think people who believe in sobriety for themselves ended up working on this movie. Mm. And I think, after COVID, we all became more involved perhaps with alcohol and had to, take a second look at our relationship to even wine. And I just felt it was very resonating with the people I know. It's about a lot of different things, and love is a very powerful thing in the movie. Love from Frank Getchell, who Kevin Kline plays, but the love from her daughters, and frankly, the love for herself, which I think Hildy has lost that for a while, and she has to come back to herself.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. And then this also resonated for me, this idea of, I'm from New England, so being a New Englander and having the stiff upper lip, and we don't talk about our problems and all of that. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about that notion of the film as well.
Totally. She's a Yankee through and through. And, I had an English mother, so it's completely stiff upper lip. Don't talk about yourself. No one wants to hear about it. And that's, Hildy has many reasons for not wanting to talk about the past and for putting a lot of distance between her and her childhood, because her mother had mental problems. And that's why success, I think, means so much to Hildy, and to be able to be the other kind of mother. So when her own daughters accuse her of being like her mother, who was unfortunately a kind of an alcoholic that, Hildy had to carry out of bars, Hildy's like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. I like a glass of wine at the end of the day. I'm not in my house drinking all day, or watching soap operas, So I think that her outrage is something I really related to. And of course, she's such a smart woman, but she's not very smart when it comes to herself, she's so perceptive about everyone else in the town. In fact, they call her a witch. And she's descended from Sarah Good, one of the Salem witches. But when it comes to her own issues, I think, Hildy can't see. And so she takes us into her confidence, and you can't help but be on her side because she's really funny and she's telling you the truth. She's opening her heart to you, and you want her to get whatever solace she can out of the bottle, until things turn around for her. Unfortunately, it's not that simple.
Right. Thank you. And then also the film is so multifaceted and just touches on so many important pieces of our culture. And also there's the idea that Hildy is a woman of a certain age who has, made a life for herself. She's made a life for her family. And, for a little while, her daughters clearly love her, but they're also angry with her. And there's this expectation that is put on women to be perfect in ways that, not everyone needs to be. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about that.
I think so. I have a daughter. Say no more. No, I love that scene with my daughters where we have a kind of confrontation. And, my younger daughter, played by Molly Brown, talks about how embarrassed she was that I danced with her friends when she graduated from college. She said it was because I was drunk. And I said, no, I just like to dance. What's wrong with dancing? So you see Hildy really fighting back. And I think it's one of the reasons we like her is because she does fight back, even if it means she has to keep a kind of protected idea of herself. But I was on Hildy's side like the entire time. And honestly, even I, the actor, because I believed in Hildy's right to have a drink, God damn it, I was like, oh my God, I'm enabling this woman by listening to her late at night. And it caught me by surprise. And I think that's very useful in the movie because I think these things do catch you by surprise. You suddenly go, oh, gosh. And it can be a very painful journey ahead. Right.
Yeah. Thank you. One thing I also enjoyed about this film is this friendship between Rebecca and Hildy. And, Rebecca goes off the rails a little bit and hurts Hildy. But I love that rather than it just be these women warring, that Rebecca comes back and extends an olive branch and apologizes and says, I was wrong, which I think is so important to see. And would you talk a little bit about that, showing these women who can come together in some way?
Well, I think it's a wonderful that Hildy finds a friend in Rebecca, someone who accepts her, doesn't judge her for having a drink, and commiserates with her a little bit about her husband dumping her for a guy, and they actually have fun together. They bond. It's so great to see Hildy let her hair down and relax with another woman and be there for her as Rebecca is for her. And it does go off the rails a bit. But Rebecca does try to make amends. And I think that is very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. And of course, the cast is wonderful, and you get to reunite with Kevin Kline. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about working with Kevin Kline. And I've interviewed Rebecca Henderson. I just love her. So I wonder if you would speak to that.
Me too. Love Rebecca. Rebecca played also, I just did a movie called Call Jane.
Yes.
And Rebecca is in that ensemble. I'm a huge fan of Rebecca's work. Well, I've known Kevin forever, and I love him. I love his work. We really trust each other, and we really kind of pick up where we leave off. We enjoy each other's company. We laugh at each other's jokes. We tease each other like mad. And so those scenes between them, I think, are very genuine. There's a lot of affection there anyway. And, what Frank does for Hildy, Frank is this kind of guy who doesn't care what people think.
Yeah.
And Hildy can't imagine feeling like that because she cares so much what people think after the childhood she had and everything. So it's really, he's like a revelation to Hildy, and one that she has to, gosh, takes her a long time to realize that it's for real and that he's not going anywhere. And it's kind of a miracle, but she also has to earn it. She has to get herself together in order to have a full life. And she, finally she says to Frank, I don't feel like I need to have 3 drinks to be myself with you. And that's a big deal.